Hi, and welcome to Linda Lectures. Linda Lectures is the name my children gave to the parental speeches I often used to torture my children and their friends, as in, oh gosh, here comes another Linda lecture or a mom lecture, depending on their age. I especially like to deliver these gems while I had them all trapped in my car. I don't care if you agree or disagree, but I do hope you'll use these to start conversations when your family is trapped together. And welcome to Linda Lectures. Today we're going to be talking about college. So I'm really fed up with the notion right now that everybody has to go to college, that that's the way we're going to solve, the world's problems. I think for very intellectual people that enjoy studying, that are avid learners, that really want to go to college, that want to pursue a career that maybe requires a master or specialized skills at a bachelor degree. And if you have the money, right, it's not an issue, because who cares? I mean, in my mind, like any way we can get people with money to spend their money is good for the economy. I'll talk about that in another episode. I know I say that a lot. So, there's a saying that I've always said to my family members that were looking for advice and friends about their kids in college, their kids that have struggled in school. School is not for everybody, and that is okay. The world is filled with different types of talents that don't fit into the box of sitting at a desk and learning or studying or test taking. I just think it's ridiculous to say that we're going to measure everybody by this one type of intelligence. uh, you know, Whatever. If people really want to go, I believe that we should find the money for them to go. But more importantly, I think we should really help and facilitate career paths for people that don't want to go to college. And I know there's a lot of work right now. I'm a big fan of Mike Rowe, and he has an organization that helps people in the trades. That skill is so amazing. I watched This Old House, and the craftsmen that they get on that show that can do things I can't dream of doing are just amazing. And I think it's really sad that we're kind of losing those people. They're going to continue to be needed. And a minute ago, I was saying one of the things I've always said to my friends and family members looking for advice is that the cream always rises to the top. This is, a rule of nature. The cream rises to the top. It is true of people as well. I don't care what kind of education you've been able to get. If you are hardworking, if you have common sense, like I said, work ethic, and you're just willing to put in the time and the effort, you are going to make progress and you are going to build a career. And it doesn't matter if you're working at Burger King or Walmart or J.C. Penney's or a bank. It doesn't matter, right? You will be noticed and you will move to the next rank. Now, well, I got a diversity certificate thing that I took, and I know there's still a lot of challenges around diversity in the workforce, but we'll continue to battle that issue separately. But it, even putting that aside, if you do a really good job, you will get noticed and get promoted or be able to apply for another job outside of your company. Advancing yourself, especially today, all you need to be able to do is afford the internet. And there are tons of free classes on LinkedIn. There are tons of free things you can watch on YouTube that can advance your skills, which I believe you would only get in the workplace anyhow. College teaches you to uh, balance your time, to think more efficiently, to get better at putting your words into writing, to get better at public speaking in some cases. But it doesn't really prepare you for a job per se, unless it's a very technically specialized field. It gives you a little bit longer to grow up, right? And to continue to learn. And that's, I think, the biggest benefit of it. But the real learning starts to take place when you enter the workforce anyhow. And the bigger the company that you go into, the more you'll learn, if that's a path that you want to take, the more you'll learn about the games you have to play and the politics that are involved with advancing, how you write an email, how you reach out to someone that's a level above you. What are the rules regarding how you contact people on other teams? There's rules that happen in an organization, and your ability to find out those rules and understand those rules and work within those rules is going to get you somewhere from a corporate standpoint. And from a skills standpoint, your ability to take direction, learn from mentors, but also practice, get creative, from an art standpoint, because I think all of those hand skills are an art form. Carpentry's an art form, masonry's an art form, welding's an art form. Push the boundaries a little bit. Maybe you'll come up with some new technique that will highlight what you do. Anyhow, colleges are overpriced because there's this pressure that's been created in society that says everyone has to go to college. Therefore, the colleges don't have to compete for students. They've all raised their prices. Every school's kind of set and there's certain tiers, and they're all the same prices within those tiers. They don't try to compete at all with what they cost, which is ridiculous. And so I think as a society, it'd be good if we could step away from that. If you're a hiring manager, stop putting on your applications that a college degree is required. It's not required. That's baloney. You put that on there because you thought it was some kind of measure, but experience that shows on the resume and what you find in the interview, that's enough. There doesn't need to be a college degree. So take it off your listings. I think right off the bat, let's just get rid of it as a requirement for people progressing past a certain point in their field. It's nonsense. And I'm not saying that I sent my oldest to college. I don't think my younger one will go to college, at least not in the short term. I went to college and I loved it. I'm so thankful that I got to go, and I learned a ton and it was a blast. But let's be real. I ended up majoring in psychology and East Asian studies, and specifically in Chinese. Now, things may be changing, but in general, a Chinese person would never go to a therapist because you wouldn't share your family secrets with some stranger. So the two majors were diametrically opposed, right? They don't work together at all. And I got an education minor because I thought maybe I could teach, but neither of those things were majors that would allow me to get a certificate. And I hit the end of my 4 years, and I think the plan in my head was that I'd go on in psychology. But I got to the end of the 4 years, and I'm like, I don't want to keep going to school. I'm done. And so then what do I have, right? I have some helpful things that I learned. I have some great memories. But I didn't know what I wanted when I first signed up to go to college, and nobody does. And I think, yeah, maybe it gives you a leg up on your first job to say that you went to college. But, I went into a program that just taught you how to program if you had good grades in college. Okay. My husband had some focus issues. He ended up getting a job and then taking night classes on the company's dime, because many larger companies have work study grants and programs and educational benefits that will allow you to take college classes, and they'll pay for them as long as you get a certain grade. So take one class at a time. It took him 10 years, but he got his degree. Something he wanted to do, he did it, and it cost him nothing. It was all paid for by his company. There's just so many other ways to get there besides going into debt. And these debts are astronomical these days. And I guarantee you that in many, many, many cases, the amount that you owe is more than you'll get on the salary side from having a college degree. And having that educational debt hanging over your head is awful. Why do you think so many people have wanted this debt forgiveness? It's a big burden when you're trying to get established. So, for hiring people out there, stop expecting college degrees. Parents, don't force your kids to go to college if they want to pursue something else. It doesn't mean their life's over. The cream always rises to the top. They will be fine, and they can always pursue college later. It doesn't have to happen right after high school. They can take a couple years and find their way. Quit putting this crazy pressure on kids to go if they have to go into debt to get it done. Kids, do not go into vast amounts of debt to get that 4-year degree. If you can't afford a school, go to a state school. Do not go into debt over this. It doesn't pay off in the long run. It used to, but it doesn't anymore. So that's what I have to say about college. And to all the people that are going into the trades and plying their craft, Jeff has a cousin that is an amazing, oh my God, I should have his name. J&R. I'll come back. I'll put a link in the notes to Jeff's cousin's business. But he is amazing with what he can do with sheet metal, and his ability to take something from a 1D drawing into a 3D thing, and vice versa, to look at a house and understand the 3D space that he has to occupy with the copper, and to render that onto a 1D surface so that when you bend it, it all ends up to be the right size to fit the space. That is an amazing art form, and I think it's great, and I think more people should consider the trades instead of college. Why not? And stop attaching the stigma to that, for all my friends out there. So those are my 2 cents on college, and thanks for listening to Linda Lectures. Thanks for listening to this Linda lecture. I hope you'll talk about these topics with your kids when it's age appropriate. They hear you even if they disagree, hate the process, or give your lectures a funny nickname. They are listening and taking their cues from you. Check out our polls and be part of future episodes by leaving comments in the Q&A or by leaving a voicemail at the number in the show description. Good luck out there. Don't take things too seriously, and I hope you'll join me again for another Linda lecture.